Hello, hello, hello. We meet again, my beautiful YouTube soul family. So, firstly, I want to thank you as always for being here and let you know how much I so deeply appreciate all of your support. Whether it's 10 views for one video in a few days or whether it's 30, 50, 100, thousands, whatever, I am grateful because I know ultimately in my heart that whoever I am reaching, that is who I'm meant to reach. So that makes me feel really good. So I just want to thank you for that. Also, if you're interested in following me on my other platforms, they're all listed here. And if you see paint on my arm, just know it's because I was painting. But yeah, they're all listed here. You can find me at Terrestrial Aura on all of these sources. And I would love to have you share my space with me. So let's get started today. I want to talk on something a little bit different than what we've recently talked about, but that's kind of still intertwined. So as you all know, some of you know, my partner Grant and I, we're both super spiritual, we're super connected. So we dive into a lot of deep conversations together. And the conversations that we have sometimes will awaken aspects of me, just like they'll sometimes awaken aspects of him. And we'll kind of put our energy of my Aquarius sun, his Leo sun, and my Leo moon together, and his Capricorn moon. And we'll put that energy together and we'll just kind of come up with some different perspectives on things. And sometimes we'll kind of just linger on it, figure it out on our own, come back together, talk about it, process it, whatever it may be. But either way, this is kind of one of those topics because it pertains to my other two videos that I've recently done. And the first one was about positive toxicity. The second one that I most recently did was about happiness. And now Grant and I were talking and he brought up a good point. He was like, you know what, that video made me think, talking about the happy video, right? He's like, that video made me think because it made me realize you can't be in all of just one of those energies, obviously. So, why are we always striving to be happy? What is this? And kind of that energy, right? And I was like, you know what? That makes so much sense because of the fact there has to always be a neutral state. And I brought this up to Grant. I try to explain it as best as I could, but over the processing of the night and the day to day, I've kind of thought about it a little deeper. And I think that I can explain it in terms that will be more beneficial for everyone instead of me just sharing this topic with my beautiful lover. So I'll share it with my beautiful lovers of my soul family. So let's do this today. Let's touch on this topic because I think that it matters and I feel it has worth. So as me and Grant were discussing this topic, he did bring up a really good point about how you can't always be in one or the other. And it does take all of those energies, takes both of those energies, that energy of being positive, being happy, but also being sad and feeling your emotions, because I did touch on that a lot in the toxic positivity video that you should check out. Here's the little thumbnail, and also here's the thumbnail for the other video that I'm referring to, the toxic positivity and the happiness video, right? Okay, so I absolutely agree with him, and I never disagreed because I see exactly the point that he's bringing to the table. So that made me want to bring that point to the table to you, so that no one else has the thought of me saying that that you should always be seeking happiness, or that you should be trying to maintain this equilibrium of happiness at all times, but instead trying to find the equilibrium within ourselves. And I brought up the fact that could also look alike. That could also look a lot like a neutral state of reality. And then Grant went on to mention about how a neutral state would actually be kind of a toxic positivity. And then that brought up the fact that absolutely it could be. And even when I ended the video and kind of suggested that whenever some people just get into the mode of where they're able to face things that happen to them a little bit quicker and able to just adapt to situations and be okay through things and not dwell on them and not have such an emotional turmoil within themselves whenever they face themselves in challenging situations. And whenever I mentioned that, I didn't want it to come across as if that can't still be portrayed as a toxic positivity, or a neutral state, because it actually can be either or. It can be a neutral state, or it could be viewed as a toxic positivity, because someone who doesn't understand that this other person that they perceive as a toxic positive energy, soul, being, whatever you want to call it, if they didn't understand that this person had faced so many challenges, so many hardships, so many things in life to overcome, then if they looked at them from an outside perspective, they may look at them and perceive them as a toxic positive person, someone who is unable to face their demons, someone who casts a shadow on everything and just kind of lurks in their own shadow without ever facing their actual reflection. But instead, it could be that this person has actually faced themselves so much that they've learned so many lessons, and now they appear as a toxic positive person, or AKA happy. Because could happiness not also be perceived as toxic positivity? I think so. What do you? It's so incredibly beautiful when we're able to touch into all of our different elements without shame, without guilt, and without feeling as if we are owing something to other people by behaving a certain way. As I mentioned in the last video about finding your happiness to master peace, the thing is, it's not always going to be happiness that masters your peace. It's going to be going into those lows, pulling that low up and coming into our peace and center of our point of view and mind and heart space. Whenever we're able to connect the mind and the heart, we're able to attune our energy to be able to feel our emotions while also processing our thoughts. Now, if you view that as a neutral state, that is absolutely okay, because it's absolutely fine. Just like if someone out there is choosing to live a life to where they're oblivious to anything happening in the world, they don't want to know about it, they don't want to hear about it, because that's a negative energy. To them, that energy of them being this way could be perceived as a toxic positivity. But the thing is, this could also be perceived as a healed energy of understanding and understanding of oneself, to understand I cannot control the things outside of me. All I can do is reflect the best energy that I can, put that energy into the world, and spread it through a matter of the processing of myself, to see that, or to have other people see that we are able to process ourselves, and hope that they will also follow that lead or my view on life and follow it in their own way of their own selves, and be able to live in the light of themselves. We can't expect someone to be exactly like us. We can't expect to change the world. But at the same time, opting out of the world and not participating in the world does not necessarily mean that you are toxic positivity. And now that's a controversial statement. I can understand that completely, because oftentimes people are like, no, if you don't care, and I've been that person. People are like, no, if you don't care about what's going on, then what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not changing anything. You're not making a solution. But do you realize how many people who live their lives never worrying about one single thing? They watch their news, they do whatever they do, and they go to sleep, they die eventually, and they live their life. And guess what happened? Nothing. They live their life to the energy that they were meant to live in and the resonance that they were meant to be in. And there is nothing wrong with that. So many people, even in the spiritual community, I hate to keep touching on this, but the spiritual community has a lot of positive toxicities, and also just toxicities in general, because a lot of people view people who don't pay attention to the things that are going on as ignorant, or people who aren't connected with their selves so much to where they're able to clear their own energy, disconnected, or something of that nature. Making these assumptions of other people, it is no different than those people making assumptions of ourselves. And again, what I am speaking on here is something I am offering to you as a thought, simply a seed to be able to embed in the thoughts and the consciousness that you weave, to be able to perceive yourself in a light that other people are reflecting on you just as much as that light that you are reflecting on others. Because do you realize, if you worry about what these other people think and how you are perceived, then you are literally feeding into the energy of that same energy of giving thoughts on other people and how they look, or how they behave, how they live their lives. And then you're putting them in a category of toxic positivity or over happy or too positive or too depressed or whatever it may be, instead of realizing that each person comes from each walk of life. And all we can do in this life is try to face ourselves as much as we can. And if someone chooses not to face themselves, maybe you seeing that and being triggered by that is a sign of something that inside of you that you're not happy with yourself. Maybe you're not coping with the energy of just like not giving a fuck. You know what I mean? Some people just don't give a fuck and they live their lives and they're happy. And that triggers you. Why would it trigger you to see someone else happy because they're neglecting things that maybe to you matter, but maybe to them don't? The thing is that we do not realize in this world a lot of times that we are not in control of other people's behaviors or emotions. So whenever we try to inflict our opinions and our energies onto other people and act as if they are meant to act a certain way, that is literally us tormenting ourselves, trying to be in control of things that we cannot control. It was once said that the fool was actually the most wisest man in the room. And do you want to know why that maybe was? Maybe why that is? It's because the fool doesn't worry about the concerns of other people. The fool doesn't worry about the concerns of things that are outside of their control. And now the wise person would worry about these things and also prepare. But what happens when you take the fool and the wise man and you put them together, or woman, or whoever, and you put them together, again, label, see, but then you put them together, does that not create a neutral state? Does that not create a awareness, but at the same time, a reflection of yourself to be able to see the energy of what your awareness is, and then bring you into the neutral state to be in awareness of what is going on, but also B, knowing that things are without your limitations of control. Therefore, you cannot control everything outside of you, but you can simply control yourself. I mean, some thought, right? So the moral of this story, point and principle of it all, is that whenever we drop the labels, once more, I just hate labels, guys. I hate them to every extent of my being. Even the word toxic, by the way. Grant mentioned something about the word toxic whenever we were talking about this last night. And I was like, do you want to know something? And he was like, what? And I let him know that as much as I hope to trigger people in my videos to be able to get some kind of thought processing of themselves within the matter of what I am speaking on, I also like to trigger myself because I feel like it is so good to have something that challenges you. I hate the word toxic. I don't like when people say, oh, that's toxic anything. Like anything toxic, it usually just makes me mad. But because of that, I wanted to use that word because I also wanted to reflect on times that I feel that I have been in the energy of a positive nature that wasn't genuine and true to myself. And then I wanted to also be able to identify things such as, like me and Grant talked about last night, identifying that we cannot actually identify who is or what is toxic positivity, because instead of us doing that, it's almost like the ego called the ego red, you know, and I just made that up in my head. But okay, it's almost the same concept. If you have one person and their ego is so big, you perceive it as their ego is so big because they're very confident, very boisterous. I think that's the right word. If it's not, whatever. But just very grandiose, right? They're just always putting themselves out there to the highest extent. You may perceive that energy as they're so egotistical. I can't believe they live their life like that. How do they think that they're that important to where they're going to walk around and talk about themselves in this way? That thing with Adam Levine, I don't know all the details. I don't really care because I don't follow that deeply. I mean, I do have my fair share of things that I follow as far as that kind of stuff goes, but that's not one of them that I've really been into. But when you think about these things, like when someone is really confident and overly like putting it out there to the world, Leo energy, right? But when they're like that, a lot of times people will reflect their own self-hate within themselves on those people by saying that their ego is showing or they are doing too much. But really, is it not your ego that is showing by being triggered by the fact that that person is aware of themselves in the way that they are, that has no control to you or by you, to where you really shouldn't even be fazed by the way that that person perceives and feels themselves as being? Now that's the topic at hand. That is the thing. Whenever we see ourselves judging something outside of us, just remember the times whenever we felt judged and how that makes us feel. And does it feel good, or does it feel like something maybe you should work on, because you don't need to put your energy on everything outside of you, because the only thing that you can control is the energy within yourself. Going back to the energy of trying to find your inner peace and monitoring our personal behaviors. So whenever we can actually acknowledge what it looks like and what it feels like to be treated the way that we are being treated, just as much as the way that we're being treated and treating others, that is the basis of all of this point. That is where you can find the energy that resides within yourself and be able to set with it, like, okay, so why am I feeling this way? Like last night, for instance, I remember me and Grant were watching a YouTube video, and this girl was so wise. She was so helpful, and she was talking about something that we were both so into, and she explained it better than anyone else had ever explained it. And then it made me think, wow, that's really freaking awesome, right? But then at the same time, at the end of the video, I mentioned something that was in my mind briefly during the video, and it was that I didn't care for her shirt because it was like this really colored, like this really bright color, and I didn't like it. And then I started thinking to myself, and I was like, why would I say that out loud? Why would I even acknowledge the fact that I went into a place to judge someone else whenever someone could be watching a video of mine and thinking the same thing? So maybe they don't like my shirt. Maybe they're like, oh, she wore that shawl, or whatever you call this thing, in another video. That's absolutely fine. But at the same time, do I still feel the energy when I have negative comments and negative things that are coming at me from energies that I don't even know? Sometimes I do. If I do not have my protection up and I'm not in the best presence of myself, yeah, sometimes I do feel that negative energy thrown at me from other people. And that should be my reminder, and that it's always going to be my reminder moving forward as I reflect on myself to become the best version I can, that I cannot judge people for what they are doing, because in the same situation, I wouldn't want to be judged. Just like those people out there that exist in the world that give zero fucks their whole life. And then guess what? They live their life and then they die. And then they just did it, you know? And all these people are like, I can't believe they're doing this. It's like, guess what? Believe it. Because people live differently than you. And not everyone prepares. Not everyone cares. And the thing is, what if we all die tomorrow? Not saying that we will, and God forbid, because I don't want it to happen, and the world's crazy, so who knows what could ever happen with that. But in the instance that we all did, who's going to come out more ahead? The person who prepared, or the person that lived their life and just lived? Equally, it's all about finding the harmony of the middle in between, knowing that you can't control everything, but at the same time being responsible and being aware of yourself. So I really feel that strongly, and I hope that you'll share your thoughts and let me know if you do too, or however you feel. All right, guys, so somehow I lost a clip because I record through TikTok to have my little label on there and to use the filters because I don't always feel like doing makeup and stuff like that. But anyway, so somehow I lost a clip to this video, and I wanted to mention that I put some information in the comment section underneath this video. And what I'm going to start doing with my videos is I'm going to start linking like different really good promotional deals and things like that, and just offers that I can give to you that also benefit me through referrals. And one of the things was, and that is there if you check it out, is a link to a 3-month subscription discounted rate for Amazon, or not Amazon. I always want to say Amazon. I did this last time too. But for YouTube Red. So if you're interested in trying out YouTube Red for 3 months, definitely benefit and utilize that. It's in the link. And I'm sorry, my camera's a little shaky right now because I'm completely not in my recording space that I was in. And then also today was pretty crazy because I canceled my bank account with Chase because they just pissed me off so bad. And I told myself I was going to have to find a new bank account. And I believe this is where the other video connects. I'm going to go ahead and share that now and tell you what happened. I logged onto my YouTube account on my laptop, and it was like referring videos to me that I would watch or that they thought I was interested in or whatever it may be. And I noticed the Peace Stiller. I don't know if y'all are familiar with him, but he's an astrologist. But yeah, so I noticed a video he had up and I was like, that's a weird name. And it was saying like turn $10 into $100. And I was like, he doesn't do this kind of stuff, so I'm intrigued. So I clicked on it, and what it was a pretty legit bank account that I'm pretty sure isn't affiliated with BlackRock, but even if it is, it's still a better deal than what I was doing before. So I'm like, I hate the fact that everything is connected like this, but at the same time, I love it because that connection of me seeing that. So I just now opened up a new account with this beautiful company. It's called Upwards. It's a bank, obviously. And what happens is you open up the account using the referral link. So now I'm going to use my own referral link. So that's also below too. And that's what I was getting to. But what happens is you put your money in your account. Like say you put 10, 20 bucks in the account. You use it within 30 days, 3 times, and then you get $100. And then I'm going to look into it because as of right now, I do not have a referral link, but I will by the time this video goes up. But also say that you get it and then you refer people just like I do. You also make a commission off of anybody who joins. So it's just kind of like one of those things. It's not anything scammy from what I've seen so far. I'm not going to like 100% count it in because I'm like, I am still like, I haven't got my card yet and things like that. But the thing is, the deal is only until like the end of this month, and it is September 2023. So if you're seeing this part of the video at a later time, just disregard this. And if there is any kind of update, I will always keep the link activated below in case there is something awesome that you can get instead. It may not just be, it just may not be the same offer. But yeah, so those are my 2 things right now. I do have some other things I'm working on getting affiliated into that I'll be linking below, and you all can check them out too. And I'll always discuss with you anything that I put there at least once, so that way there's a video reference to actually know why it's there. So that's why it's there if you're seeing that. So definitely check out some premium if you're interested for YouTube. Use that link. And then also if you are in need of a bank account or just want to make $100, well, like 90 because you have to invest the 10. But I mean, you're going to use the 10. It's not like you're losing it. But yeah, if you want to make a little bit of money, do it. It's there. And thanks for watching me today. Thanks for your support. And as always, I ask that you like and share and subscribe to this video. Also leave any comments below of your thoughts on this video. And always, always, always wishing you a wonderful, magical momentum of your now. Until we meet again.